call the meeting to order then. Special council meeting for Tuesday, March 9th. And the first up is adoption of the agenda. Councillor Scarrow, Councillor Koza, I see Councillor Gamble on the TV, and
Councillor
Reid on TV, and the rest are in attendance. So, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. And the issue is the reconsideration of the development permit for Jensen Road. It was with the variance, and the request was for an extension of 1 month. The usual extension was 3 months, and they were taking it from December to March 20 or 31st.
No, 21st. So the actual request, if I may, Your Worship, maybe I can explain a couple of things. Sure. And the Director of Planning is online as well if you need to have some clarifications at that level. A couple of things. Because this is a reconsideration, basically we have attached the report that went to council last time. Mm-hmm. The reason being that basically by reconsidering the matter, whatever happened at the meeting, it's like it never happened. So legally, you're starting all over again. The second point that I like to make is that because of that, and because the actual request came to council, came to staff on December 18, and by the time it was processed, I guess, the applicant received a response from staff on December 21st or thereabout. Then the request for the 3-month extension goes to the date that is actually 3 months from that date, right, which is March 21st of 2021. So that's reflected in the resolution proposed, one of the options proposed in the original report. Now, a couple of things. The applicant was at the March 2nd meeting. Because now our reports include also negative recommendations in general, and we've been in the habit of asking applicants if they wish to present to council. She would like to say a few things because I guess she's concerned that she has done some work and at least she has done some expended some money to bring forward her application, that she'd like to have an opportunity to say where we at with that. The other point is that she has received a previous approval from staff, but as we discussed, that is not how the bylaw talks or speaks about this, and therefore that's why it went back to council. We recognize that the way it was done in the past was not consistent with the bylaw, and we're trying to fix that somewhat, and that's why it's back before council, and it was back before council on March 2nd. I think I'll leave it at that. I sent an email to council just to explain these things before, I think last week, but again, if there are any questions to me or Jamie, we'll try to answer those. But I think it's important that we probably hear from the applicant, Christina White. Okay.
Yeah, I would ask then a resolution to hear from the applicant. Councillor Scarrow, Councillor Koza, those in favor? Opposed? None opposed. The motion carries. We could hear from an applicant. Is she available?
We're trying.
Okay. Who did? I didn't see the hand. Cara, did you have a question?
did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor Scarrow, I think it was. My question would be to Alberta. When we the report we had the last time mentioned the start of construction or building groundworks, and the report that we have now just mentions the covenant and a payment of the landscaping deposit. So I just wanted to clarify whether there is still a requirement for work to actually begin on the site, or is it just now the deposit and the proof of covenant submission?
From my perspective, I think that the proof of covenant is sufficient. However, I'm going to ask Jamie to respond because he's eventually the one responsible for the file. And so I want to make sure that he's comfortable with this.
You there, Jamie? We'll hear from you.
I am. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council. That would be correct. I believe that proving a substantial investment into the process, to an extent, exhibits the beginning of the development process. It's effectively, I draw a parallel to like a commitment to use, or like a lawful nonconformity even, where, if you've invested a certain amount into the development process, it would be unreasonable to withhold the permit, especially if some of those conditions have been met. Hope that helps.
Okay, and my one follow-up question would be, once the permit's issued, is there a time frame on which the applicant has to complete the work?
There is not a timeline under which the applicant must complete the work, but there is a timeline of 2 years where the work must be substantially commenced, and that's the difference between the two.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, my pleasure. And it can be challenging because we do have cases where people have actually received a development permit in 15 years ago, for example, and completed just enough work to be considered still in stream. So we have to treat it as substantially in progress.
Okay, Councillor Gamble.
Thanks. I just wanted to mention, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what we are being asked is strictly whether or not we agree to extend the timeline for this application by 3 months, ending on March 21st, I believe. I believe that was the date we had. That's it. We're not, because we'd already supported the application as far as a development permit.
Yeah, that is correct. Really, the matter, you have to discuss the merits of the matter, which is the extension.
Yes.
Obviously, you can still have your feelings about the application, or the actual development permit, so you can vote whatever you want. But the reality is that you're discussing the merits of the actual extension.
And at the previous meeting, I did mention due process, and I think that's what I was referring to, that, and I feel it's a reasonable thing to grant the extension.
Yeah, you're talking about due process, and I think that's a good point. If we were to actually reconsider the original development permit and variance which were approved, let's say they weren't approved, then we would have to go through a process to re-advertise because there is a variance and so on. In this case, we didn't need that because it's about the extension.
Right, thank you. Is the applicant? It depends whether you extend it into dinner time or not.
Mrs. White, are you on the line?
Who? No.
Hello? Hello, are you on the line?
Hello.
Okay, hi, you're live in council chambers now, so just make sure the volume is off on your computer so you can hear them. Okay, go ahead.
I am. Just let me turn my volume off here. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Your Worship, councillors, and district staff for your time. And as you're all aware, the situation is unique, as some information was not presented to you during the last council meeting. We're just asking for an extension. Some background is last fall we hired a mortgage broker to find funding for the project. Due to COVID and the fact that the units were not able to be stratified, banks were really leery. So on December 18th, we applied in writing to the district as instructed by the planner. And we did receive an extension via email on December 18th. This year, we personally approached a local credit union in Lake Country, and they're excited to support the project as they know the desperate need for rental properties in Lake Country. They liked the layout of our project as it allowed wheelchair accessible and those who are not able to climb stairs regularly, as well as other ages of the population. We contacted our lawyer and had a covenant drawn up. However, when we approached the planners to review the covenant, we were told that there was a subsequent email that rescinded our original extension that had been granted. We were also told that for the last 11 years, extensions had been granted, and there's no reason that council would not give us this extension as it had for the last 11 years. Of course, we were pretty shocked. We have a builder, we've hired an appraiser, we have lending, that's a local credit union, and we also have a lawyer who's done a covenant up. So as local residents who invested in Lake Country, we have a business here, we're raising our children. We just appeal to each of you that you stand behind the email we received on December 18th, 2020, granting us the extension. We know Lake Country councillors have values of accountability, integrity, and empathy. And we thank you again for your time and honesty in dealing with this situation.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant from council? I don't see any hands, and so thank you very much. We'll get on with discussion and see if we can get a motion to
Thank you.
reconsider.
Not to reconsider, you can go straight into one of the options.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the extension till March the 21st, in line with the previous communication from the district on the 18th of December.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor Gamble, Councillor Reid, Councillor Gamble. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Extension? Those opposed? Councillors Koza, Todd, and Ireland opposed. Motion carries.
Councillor Scarrow, are you in favor? Okay, thank you.
So, thank you. That not consensus, but a majority and a quorum. So
You don't need consensus.
we will adjourn this special council meeting and get on with strategic planning, I think, or yeah, waste.
Well, you're going to have a session now with our manager of IT to
Oh, that's right.
to discuss the authentication, for your phones. So he's going to show you how to do it.
Not going to show me. I don't have my password.